In actuality, Audie Murphy detested him the most. On June 20th, 1925, Audie Murphy was born Audie Leon Murphy in Kingston, a small Texas town. Hunt County is where these incidents occurred. He was born to Josie Bell Killian and Emmett Murphy. In the difficult years between World War I and the Great Depression, they were impoverished farmers, attempting to raise a large family. Being the seventh of 12 children, he had a difficult upbringing due to his family's instability and poverty. In rural Texas, his family struggled to make ends meet and frequently ran out of supplies and food. However, his Irish forebears had given him resilience, independence, and tenacity that would serve him well in battle. There was more to his given name, Audie Leon, than first meets the eye. He got his name after two guys who helped his mother when she was struggling. When her spouse was away from her for extended periods of time, these men looked out for her. His father, Emmett, was unreliable and not usually there. Before permanently abandoning the family, he would come and go from the residence. Because of this, Josie Bell was largely responsible for raising her large family alone, with Audie and his siblings taking on responsibilities that were well above their capabilities. In order to survive in a household that was continuously disintegrating, Audie had to mature quickly and acquire a strong will. Despite an unstable family situation, Murphy attended elementary school while growing up in Northeast Texas, close to the towns of Farmersville, Greenville, and Celeste. However, he did attend school for a brief period of time. His family needed the money so desperately that he had to drop out of school when he was in the 5th grade. Despite being only a boy, Audie did all the labor. He found employment as a cotton picker, putting in long hours for meager compensation in the sweltering Texas fields. He learned how to work hard during these years, but he also understood how difficult the Great Depression was for average Americans. His mother's death in 1941 was a devastating blow to the already fractured family. She was very dear to Murphy, who was devastated by her passing. Audie's family became less close as a result of her younger brothers being placed in children's homes and orphanages since they lacked a permanent place to live together. Audie worked at a number of odd jobs in the town of Greenville to make ends meet. He worked at the office and on the farm. In these uncertain years, he started to imagine a route out. He wanted to demonstrate that he was more than simply a destitute farm lad by helping his brothers. Murphy recognized an opportunity in the military forces as World War II deteriorated and the U.S. prepared to engage. Despite his youth, he was inspired to enlist in the army in order to support his family and serve his nation. He was initially rejected by the military because he appeared too young and was too thin. He was barely over 5'5" tall and weighed less than 120 pounds, but his perseverance paid off, and on June 30th, 1942, he was officially allowed to join the U.S. Army, marking the beginning of one of the most incredible careers in American military history. After completing basic and advanced military training, Murphy was assigned to Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Military Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division in 1943. His first overseas assignment was to French Morocco in North Africa, where he was exposed to the harsh realities of war. He was as vulnerable to the heat, illness, and difficult terrain as the Axis troops. But he soon established a reputation as a man who took his work seriously, obeyed orders, and didn't back down when things got dangerous. Murphy was promoted to corporal in July 1943 for his leadership and his ability to perform under pressure. At the same time, his division was preparing for the crucial Allied invasion of Sicily, which was crucial in severing Axis control in the Mediterranean. The campaign's success ended in August 1943, when the 7th Infantry Regiment took control of and defended the strategically significant harbor of Messina. Murphy's actions during these operations earned him another promotion before the year ended, this time to sergeant. Murphy's bravery and technical skill were particularly evident during Operation Dragoon, the Allied attack of southern France in August 1944. He never gave up in his fight against the Nazis, and frequently risked his life for more than was required of him. His actions earned him a promotion to 2nd Lieutenant in the 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, as well as the Presidential Unit Citation, one of the highest honors bestowed upon military units. When the 3rd Infantry Division faced fierce German resistance during the Allies' push into northeastern France in September 1944, Murphy stood out for his courage in the face of danger, risking his life numerous times to lead his men, aid wounded soldiers, or halt enemy attacks. He began to receive numerous medals and decorations for his bravery, and by 1945, he had become a household name thanks to the battle for the Colmar Pocket, one of the most significant battles in France, where he personally directed fire and led his men in one of the war's most significant counterattacks despite the odds. For his valor, he received another promotion, this time to first lieutenant, and was sent back to headquarters from the front lines as a contact officer, a job that was safer than combat, but demonstrated the respect his superiors had for him. Murphy's military career continued in different directions after the war, receiving his rank in 1950 as a captain in the Texas National Guard's 36th Infantry Division, but that year, he received a strange call from Hollywood, initially hailed as a war hero. Murphy's real-life experiences gave the films a more realistic feel, and he was at the height of his film career with To Hell and Back, 1955, based on his autobiography of the same name, which was one of Universal Pictures' biggest hits of the decade. In the meantime, he continued his military duties, and in 1956, he was made a major in the United States. After 10 years, Murphy was dismissed from the Texas National Guard, but he remained active in the military and worked diligently for veterans' issues. Murphy eventually retired from the U.S. military in May 1969, having served for nearly 30 years in both the regular and reserve forces. He was awarded the U.S. Army Reserve as a reward for his continued service even as his acting career took off. By that time, he had become the most honored American soldier of World War II, with awards and medals like the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, and many more. Audie Murphy married actress Wanda Hendricks for the first time in 1949, when he was at the height of his early fame as both an honored war hero and a rising star in Hollywood. Wanda was a beautiful young actress who was rising to fame in the movie business. When they got married, the public and the media were very interested in it because they saw it as a glamorous match between a famous war veteran and a potential actress. Even though they were very excited about their relationship, the marriage had problems almost from the start. The psychological scars of fighting and what would later be called post-traumatic stress disorder were things that Murphy still dealt with after his time in the war. This, along with the stress of his new Hollywood job and the needs of public life, made it hard for him to be stable at home. After a tense relationship that lasted only 2 years, they divorced, which was painful, but it revealed the personal issues Murphy was facing as he struggled to balance fame, happiness, and the memories of his time in the service. Later that year, Murphy fell in love again, this time with Pamela Archer, a woman who wasn't in Hollywood and didn't have to deal with all the attention. Murphy's second marriage, to another entertainer, didn't give him the sense of normalcy and stability he sorely needed, and Pamela's steady and loving personality helped keep things stable. And she was there for him through all the highs and lows of his career. One of the most significant events in Murphy's life was becoming a father to Audie and Pamela, who were proud of their first son, Terrence Michael Terry Murphy, and their second son, James Shannon Skipper Murphy. Despite his hectic work schedule in Hollywood and his ongoing emotional problems from the war, Murphy made a concerted effort to be involved in his children's lives, spending time with them, offering guidance, and teaching them skills shaped by both strength and adversity. He saw his boys as a source of stability, hope, and a reason to persevere through difficult times. The most decorated American soldier in World War II, Audie Murphy went on to become a Hollywood star and was known for being direct, honest, and not looking for praise from people he didn't respect. However, Murphy claimed that he detested legendary actor James Cagney more than anyone else in the industry, and that he worked with many actors, some of whom he respected. Murphy was usually very courteous when discussing his colleagues, but he was very harsh about Cagney, and he is said to have made his feelings known in private conversations, saying that he felt that Cagney looked down on those who weren't from the same acting background or Hollywood group as him. Cagney acted like the rest of us didn't belong in the same business, Murphy once said, and he never thought much of men who left the army to become actors. He thought we were just beginners playing at something he owned. Murphy had always been perceived as a bit of an outsider, as he was not academically trained, didn't grow up in the theater, and didn't attend art school. He was raised in poverty in rural Texas and gained fame for his valor in the war. The conflict between Murphy and Cagney also centered on cultural differences. Murphy was a quiet, modest Texan who valued truth over showiness, and he didn't like the way Cagney's cocky swagger and powerful energy made him appear on screen. Murphy once remarked of Cagney's playing style, "I never could stand that mugging he did." Cagney was born in New York City and grew up in rough neighborhoods where he learned to be tough early on, bringing his quick-talking, streetwise personality to his movie roles. People may have bought it, but I didn't. I thought it was a fake. In every movie, he played the same tough guy. Cagney didn't serve in the military during World War II, and while Murphy never publicly said that was wrong, he did criticize men who didn't fight while others did. This was the main reason why I didn't like Cagney. I buried too many friends to pretend that it didn't bother me. In the 1940s, there were rumors that Cagney had ties to communists and questions about his patriotism, but the House Un-American Activities Committee eventually found no evidence to support these claims. Murphy had put his life in danger on the battlefield, and he didn't like people who questioned American ideals or didn't stand by their country when it was in trouble. Murphy said, "It didn't matter how well known he was. It didn't bother me that you called me a hero. That's what I was," he said. He called me Soldier Boy more than once, and not in a nice way. Murphy once claimed that he felt Cagney was rude to him when they happened to cross paths in social settings in Hollywood, treating him like a novelty, like a war hero trying to act instead of a real performer. But the way he said it, as if it were an insult, told me all I needed to know about him. Murphy valued respect and admired artists who treated everyone with kindness, regardless of their background. He admired celebrities like James Stewart, a veteran Air Force pilot, for their talent and humility. But he believed that Cagney was just an ego. He was acting all the time, even when he wasn't acting. The true man was never explained. Perhaps there wasn't one, Murphy once remarked. Murphy's distaste for Cagney eventually became a full-blown hatred, and he refused to concur with other Hollywood celebrities who claimed that Cagney was among the greatest actors of his era. I didn't want to be like him. I didn't agree with what he stood for. Murphy was more candid when they were alone. In an interview, he would either change the topic or give brief answers when asked about Cagney. I hated him more than anyone in Hollywood. It wasn't anger. To me, he embodied everything that was wrong with the company. It was strange that Murphy allowed his private life to influence his public life in this way. He avoided getting involved in Hollywood feuds as much as possible because he wanted his group of friends to be close and loyal, but he didn't do that with James Cagney. Whether it was Cagney's rudeness, his refusal to serve in the military, or the way he marketed himself, Audie Murphy couldn't forget him. For the rest of his life, Murphy never changed his viewpoint about James Cagney, despite the fact that many others, including audiences and reviewers, insisted that Cagney was one of the greats. Murphy was always terribly upset by this. The exact words he used were, "Some people in Hollywood I respected, some I didn't care much about. Cagney was the worst when it came to hatred." It was raining. There was fog, and Murphy was killed on May 28, 1971, when his private jet slammed into the side of a mountain 14 nautical miles northwest of Roanoke, Virginia. In addition, the pilot and 4 other passengers perished.